Surely you also feel that the energies are incredibly intense and that they almost compel you to expand your consciousness, to change within. These can be the characteristics by which we can recognize that the process of awakening and expanding consciousness is underway. During this journey, it is extremely important to avoid a highly specific trap, to recognize it, and yes, to learn how to handle it. Because this trap encounters us always and everywhere, and it is frequently and commonly just disguised under a cloak of goodness. And it is about the topic of absorption. And today I would like to specifically focus on this, as in my opinion, this particular aspect is not discussed anywhere else. It's so fundamental. So welcome to this episode of Your Love Happy podcast. My name is Linda Guise. I have been a consciousness mentor for 22 years, a spiritual mentor, the editor of Consciousness Next Level, which is a book highly recommended in this context. Yes, and I am also the founder of the Being Potential Method. By the way, we regularly host live shows, so if you ever feel like getting to know your being potentials, finding out what that is, and how you can make your life truly awesome, I warmly invite you to join us for free. You can find the link here in the show notes for this podcast. So it's about absorption. What do I even mean by that? As human beings, we have an inherent tendency to perceive the world predominantly through our visual sense, directing our focus towards the external aspects that are observable to us with our eyes. Even individuals who do not possess eyesight employ other senses to navigate and orient themselves in the external world around them. That means we are fundamentally oriented towards orienting ourselves to the external world surrounding us in our daily lives. And if you look very closely and feel very deeply, then you will notice that many things are literally absorbing you and your consciousness. In the event of a negative case, for instance, we make use of the media. The complete news machine that is currently running, it absorbs all of our attention without any respite. She pulls us into a field of attention, and then we begin to interact with it. The entirety, the subjects that we actively engage with, generate a wide range of emotions that have a profound impact on and shape our consciousness. And it is in fact completely absorbed by a specific and particular topic or subject matter. The same goes for things that fascinate us. Yes, so if you are, for example, creatively inclined, and for example, if you make music or paint or find a creative expression in any form, you may notice that when you dedicate yourself to this activity, to this creativity, you are truly absorbed by this creative phase and drawn in, completely dissolving into it, losing track of time, yes. Ultimately, this is always something very beautiful, something very valuable. But we also know this, for example, from conversations. Yes, when you are talking to someone and they tell you something, yes, and you engage with it, and maybe you also feel that the person is totally absorbed in their topic. Yes. For example, I have a close friend who can get completely absorbed by her own dramas to the point that nothing else exists. And it's extremely difficult to focus on other topics when she's in that state. She then lives in this absorber, in this bubble of her dissatisfactions, her negativity, yes, always surrounded by the burden of her discontent. And when we subsequently have conversations with such individuals, we run the risk of being absorbed and immersed in their world as well. How does it feel when you become irritated or frustrated about something, when things do not go your way? Do you know that? You get angry even though you are long out of the situation. You keep getting angry for a long time. You are absolutely absorbed by the anger. However, even if you have a strong desire to understand something, yes, your profound interest can truly absorb and captivate you completely. So, you notice the topic of absorption is a topic that constantly and everywhere encounters us, completely free of value judgments. Yes, even something positive is a nature walk. And as you concentrate on nature, you are connected with nature. That is the location where we feel it, that provides us with energy. We are completely engrossed by these uplifting vibrations. But you probably also know walks in nature. There you are caught in your mind in inner dialogues, practically trapped, playing certain scenarios or inner conversations from right to left, from top to bottom, and all around. And the lovely stroll in nature has come to an end. And you didn't actually pay much attention because you were engrossed in internal matters, conversations, and conflicts. So, and what I'm trying to convey is that we need to understand that this absorption in general is something that hinders us from expanding our consciousness. Yes, we are being drawn into something. What captivates us is akin to its own separate existence, yes, like a body, a tangible form that leads its own independent life and truly seizes hold of you. And we are granted the opportunity to penetrate and surpass that barrier. And I particularly address individuals who are highly sensitive, individuals who genuinely have their antennas fully extended and also experience their own emotional life very intensely. They are aware of that. They can occasionally experience challenges in remaining in specific environments because they are actually absorbed, and then it becomes overwhelming for their own structures. However, when it comes to structures, even individuals who, for instance, grew up in narcissistic structures where a parent or maybe even both were toxic or narcissistic, these narcissistic structures can have a harmful impact, making these individuals highly susceptible to being absorbed by external issues. Therefore, it is of utmost importance for these individuals to be especially careful and vigilant in navigating their surroundings and protecting their well-being. But also all of the individuals who still carry primal wounds within themselves, who are not healed, who carry traumas within themselves that are not healed, that simply lies in the fact that we are not authentic at these points. If we still carry primal wounds within us that are not healed or traumas, then we are in a kind of survival mode that, as we get older, transforms into a self-sabotage mode. And we are not authentic. We are not true to ourselves. We are not in our center. In certain areas of life, we are simply incredibly susceptible to the essence of absorption and easily influenced by external forces. Yes, these fields truly rely on our attention and attract us. They captivate us, immersing us in their world and keep us engaged. We find ourselves unable to resist their pull as they feed on, and these fields have no concern whatsoever whether you feel good about it or not. For them, it is of utmost importance to capture your attention. This also occurs when we are opposed to something, when we desire to create distance between ourselves and something, but experience inner resistance, are internally provoked. Even in those circumstances, absorption takes place. And this absorption is similar to a traditional antagonist of the development of consciousness, the expansion of consciousness. We engage in conversation, or actually we engage in conversation less now in this community, but fundamentally the prevailing belief is that there are dark forces at work on this earth or similar. This can be expressed in various forms and through different means of communication. The most effective form of protection that is available to us is not through structures, energy fields, beings, or any other external means of defense. To make contact with, as well as to detach from it, to set at liberty or release from captivity or confinement. Yes, the greater our freedom, the broader our consciousness becomes, enabling us to gain a deeper understanding of the nature of absorption and initiating a process of self-observation in our day-to-day lives. There are, as mentioned, the good absorptions where we truly feel that it gives us something, but we should also recognize those just so we are not against the negative absorption, because that too can then absorb us again. Yes, we should also be completely value-free at this point and perceive the good moments where we are drawn into something and the phases that do not benefit us, which even harm us, quite the opposite. In a world that is getting faster and faster, especially now with Jupiter in Gemini, the dynamics will simply increase massively once again. We will experience an incredible sense of curiosity within us. Yes, we have a desire to find communities, to establish connections. Also, make sure to pay attention. Everything is getting faster now. It's becoming more and more informative. The information can now overlap again, and we are aware of that. By the way, this has something to do with the demand. Our demand ensures that information simply most likely reaches where it wants to go when it is dramatically oriented. Yes, so if they are terrifying news, drama, news, dangers, yes, that in one way or another manages to captivate us, and before we know it, we are completely and entirely absorbed in it. Yeah, there's nothing we can do. Once that has absorbed us, there's a program running in us, a momentum, and it just takes a while until we have detached from it. Therefore, it is very important that in this increasingly fast-paced time, in this ever-growing, in this ever-increasing flood of information, we understand that absorption harms us. As an illustration, the universe itself, life itself, and the dynamics of life are intricately connected to the overarching themes that revolve around questions and answers. That is to say, when you commence to inquire within, existence will initiate furnishing you with the responses. That constitutes the fundamental proposition. At present, when we are completely absorbed in various topics, questions naturally and automatically arise within us on a personal level. Man strives for perfection, man yearns for truth, man searches for answers, whether these questions are conscious to us or whether they arise unconsciously within us, forming and shaping themselves. So the greater the number of individuals who are absorbed by a specific topic at the moment, the greater the number of individuals who are asking quite similar questions. Yes, particularly, for instance, these topics as active as war, pandemics, deprivation of liberty, yes. So all these negative news that are rampant in all variations, and where surely the next big thing will be driven through the village soon. The greater the level of engagement, the higher the number of question marks that will arise. And life, particularly when a field of inquiries becomes more concentrated, will once again transform into its own entity to guarantee that it discovers answers. But these answers are different from what we wish for. Yes, the desire, the idealized wish is, okay, now I have an answer. Life will guide you, especially if you are unconscious, deeper into the complexity and intricacy of the question, gradually revealing the profoundness and depth that lie beneath the surface. Are you so deeply merged with the question, with the drama, perhaps also with the question, that you dissolve yourself to the extent that an answer forms from it? What examples could we bring? So I truly understand and have knowledge of this from these shamanic journeys, from these processes, how this dynamic operates. You forget deeper, 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 deeper into the question, into the drama, into the process, until you almost become the question or the challenge, and there is simply nothing else but this theme. There we see this absorption again. Yes, so the question also absorbs you deeper into the processes until it becomes such, until it truly becomes its own entity in which the answer is eventually contained. A very classic example of how something like this can look is, for example, a perfect illustration. Plato's cave. You are acquainted with the allegory of the cave, correct? How the individuals in the cave engaging with the shadows on the walls are captivated and have faith in that being reality. Yes, quite interesting. Who is playing this game? Are these our own shadows, or is there perhaps someone orchestrating this shadow play? That would indeed be an interesting question. Thank you very much. And when you come out of the cave and then have the realization of what is actually going on and realize intensely that life actually takes place outside the cave, when you return and want to tell the people still fascinated by shadow plays in the cave, they cannot understand what you mean at all. And when you look at the world today, yes, when was allegory of the cave created? Honestly, I'm not exactly sure, but what do we have now? 2024? And ultimately, we live in a world of shadow play. Yes, social media, artificial intelligence, computers, video games, movies, media. Yes, so this entire range of projecting images, and we are being drawn into it, completely immersed in the digital world that surrounds us and influences our lives in profound ways. It is simply the condensation of the question that Plato, so to speak, raised in that specific location or context without any additional elements or complexities. We inhabit a world characterized by shadow plays, and we find ourselves plunging into its depths with increasing intensity and frequency. And when we take a close look at the possible trajectory of the world, if we don't initiate the process of asking different questions, ultimately, we will find ourselves completely and thoroughly immersed in an artificial world, in a digital world that will have absorbed us entirely. Yes, and this is an example that clearly demonstrates how our questions, assumptions, judgments, and condemnations play a significant role in driving us to delve deeper into these topics, continuously propelling us forward until we eventually emerge at the other end with a well thought out and effective solution to the challenges we face. However, just like Plato's cave illustrates, it demonstrates the lengthy duration required for such a collective spirit to truly progress and have an impact there. Yes, and for this reason, it is of utmost importance that we maintain a critical and vigilant observation on the nature, characteristics, and process of absorption. And this is accomplished through the process of grounding, being grounded, and maintaining a healthy ratio. We are frequently favored by emotions, and what are the feelings that you have, and the intelligence of the heart. But our rationality and our logic, that's very valuable, because it helps us to be grounded, and I can really sing you a song about that. By the way, I write about this in great detail in my book Consciousness Next Level, where I had the opportunity to work with the most powerful medicine in the world and truly disconnect from my mind, from the whole issue of thinking, and thus also from grounding separation. Yes, because I am me and you are you. Yes, this is my microphone, that's me. Yes, but that's an object. But after this work with the strongest medicine, for several days there was no separation anymore. The mind's task is to separate. Yes, there was no separation anymore. I was everything, and it was a highly dramatic state that burdened me very, very much. That means our physical structure, the inertia of dimensions, our life here on earth is ultimately not yet at least suitable for us to truly perceive in this unity consciousness that we are everything, that we are all one. Our consciousness is not yet designed that way. Yes, it is beneficial for us to ultimately ensure a certain degree of grounding with the mind in order to provide a sense of grounding, stability, and mental well-being. As a result of the dimension of unity consciousness, and this could potentially lead to a sense of disillusionment. Yes, this particular dimension is, for us, given our current wiring, a dimension that is characterized by chaos. and represents a state of disarray and confusion. And it is exceedingly perilous because we truly believe that we are going completely insane. Therefore, our mind is also a very, very good instrument to utilize in order to handle it. Yes, therefore, thus, a robust grounding and ultimately also a non-judgmental approach to ensure a healthy outcome. Yes, it is of utmost importance to approach absorption with the requisite level of autonomy that is absolutely necessary for optimal outcomes. You don't have to know everything, you don't have to get involved everywhere, and even if some, especially here in the community, say, oh, I'm already so far, I don't let myself get involved anywhere, I pay close attention to that, there's still a lot more we can improve on. Yes, so our mindset work, our heart's work, our heel set are also very, very important. And our curiosity, yes, being curious, important, so valuable, especially now to have a high level of curiosity for the next 2 years, is of utmost significance and cannot be underestimated. But be cautious. Enable yourself to consciously absorb. If you permit yourself to be engrossed, be mindful of the engrossment, because then you possess the ability to take action and can also depart at any moment. Yes, the more successful we are in this, the following events occur. Therefore, we will experience spiritual growth. What is happening there? Maybe it is also quite exciting to experience what spiritual ascent actually means. We always think that we need to maintain high energy levels and ascend in that manner, but in reality, it is our spiritual essence, our true nature within us that ascends. Yes, if we can describe it a bit metaphorically, you likely know that sensation when internal images from the past emerge within you. Abruptly, you recollect something, particularly when you are working through something, and maybe distressing or intense scenes in your life require to be worked through. It is difficult to resist the internal images that frequently accompany corresponding physical sensations. And thus it is with our spiritual ascent, gradually rising and unfolding within us, guiding us on our journey towards higher realms of consciousness. This may also be a relief because we all are of high consciousness, which descended into matter, also known as going into exile. This descent into matter can be seen as a temporary state of separation from our true nature, a journey of, yes, we are a consciousness of high awareness descending into matter, gradually forgetting our true nature as a divine being of elevated existence. Spiritual ascent signifies that consciousness, meadow, along with inner images, inner insights, gradually rise and expand within the depths of our being. Now you also understand why it is so important not to let ourselves be absorbed. Because the more we are absorbed by something, our complete attention is caught up in any dramas or even positive things, the more difficult it is for the higher consciousness to ascend within us. We simply do not perceive it. And what we do not perceive cannot establish itself within us. And if you fail to realize this, you will remain stuck in obscurity, in a perpetual fog, and thereby sense the constant risk of being absorbed by the surrounding environment, losing your distinct identity and purpose, and ultimately failing to make a meaningful impact in the world around you. So it's truly a deeper descent into matter, all the way into digitalization, into artificial intelligence. Yes, we are going down deeper and deeper into the realm of substance if we do not align ourselves in a manner that allows our higher consciousness to ascend within us and transcend the limitations of the material world that surrounds us. So we remember through the ascent of inner images, the awareness reaching from higher states of being, yes, thus to a level, a dimension in which we already exist as a high consciousness. And this awareness, this ascent is incredibly important because the timing of reaching it doesn't matter. You can also descend to much greater depths. Humanity can descend to much greater depths. It's perfectly fine. But why did we embark on this journey? Every individual existing in matter has descended into matter because it is the greatest act of love towards creation. I also describe this in great detail in my book, Consciousness Next Level. This act of love towards creation is based on the pillar or foundation of redeeming the unconscious, which is a great act demonstrating immense love and compassion for all of creation. Consciousness has a counterpart, let's refer to it as such. The word is not entirely accurate. It possesses a counterpart, which is known as the unconscious, representing the hidden aspects of the mind. And the state of being unconscious implies a lack of awareness of one's own existence or surroundings. That means consciousness, even high levels of consciousness, may not be aware of a certain part of itself. And this is redeemed through our descent into matter, the physical realm. There are definitely additional possibilities in various alternate realities. However, here on our planet, we have the opportunity to redeem the unconscious mind in the way we choose to approach and engage with it. And that is the reason why the ascent is also uncomfortable. Yes, because we initially struggle from a state of unconsciousness into another state of unconsciousness, and then from that state of unconsciousness into a state of consciousness. And the more that rises within us, one might now also think, wow, that's great, then I remember my higher self, my true being. Beware of too many fairy dust expectations. As an individual, as a human, yes, you are completely new, even if you have embarked on this journey countless times through various incarnations. You are entirely new, you are entirely fresh, and with your consciousness you are also, at the very least, out in lifetimes without a doubt. Yes, you are new, even though you have always been in existence for all eternity. Yes, as long as you continue to live, at least that much can be stated. It is a completely new and unfamiliar experience for you. And we also need to learn how to navigate, first and foremost, what it is like when we as individuals depart from the body, yes, and pass away and then transition to the next phase. I believe there are also numerous facets of truth, so there are variations as well. Because some individuals truly enter the realms of perhaps the astral world, and some are reincarnated anew. Yes, there are indeed numerous facets to consider. However, what we can definitely state is that during the journey on Earth, it is an entirely new experience for you to embody this elevated version of yourself. And it genuinely calls for a strong inner work and a conscious navigation even in high energies. That also signifies taking responsibility for one's actions and choices and being accountable for the outcomes that arise from them. And that also means consistently tidying up within ourselves. We are far from being completed, even if we do not like that. And even though a lot of excitement may emerge now because the energies are becoming more lively, lighter, and more positive, one feels the longing to acquire more knowledge, to grow and expand oneself. There will still be regions where we need to tidy up within ourselves. Yes, so embarking on the journey to heal the relationship with oneself, to heal the relationship with one's own past, and also to heal the relationship with one's own joy, love, abundance, prosperity, self-empowerment, and self-development. This is still very important for such a truly amazing life. Yes, when it comes to personal aspects and needs, and it really doesn't matter what you perceive as a truly amazing life. Yes, it's simply the deepest fulfillment and happiness. And it can be a quiet life, it can be a loud life, it can be a very active one, it can be a rather withdrawn one. That's for each person to decide for themselves. Yes, however, the truth of the matter is that consciousness expansion, spiritual ascent, allowing it to rise within you, is of such paramount importance that you must prioritize absorption as an incredibly strong and unwavering focus in your life. I am very curious to know how you liked this podcast episode. Please write to me in the comments how you resonate with it, what comes to your mind. Perhaps you also have some questions about it. Let's definitely engage in the exchange there. If you'd like, feel free to participate even in our next live show, in the free live show. Feel free to sign up for that. I am very excited. There we also work together, delving deeply into these topics. Yes, self-empowerment, self-discovery, simply activating one's own authenticity, happiness, love, and inner freedom. If you like, you can also follow me on Instagram, where you will always receive short, centered tips for your journey. The most beautiful thing for you. With love, your sister in spirit, your beloved Linda.